On today's wrestling news, Paige is leaving WWE and teases an in-ring return.
How long is Cody Rhodes set to be out for?
We've got Roman Reigns' first title defense since WrestleMania.
And a massive title change on last night's SmackDown.
Are you ready? Are you ready for the news time? Yes, my name is Phil Chambers. I'm joined by Gareth Morgan, and Salty Sea Dog is also here to talk about all things wrestling news. But before we get into it, make sure you like the video, comment, subscribe, and do all of that stuff that the YouTube likes, and the links to the news stories is in the description. And yeah, let's start. So Paige has been on Twitter, and she has announced her departure from WWE, and it's going to be on July the 7th as her last day with WWE. So she put up a big thing on Twitter. She goes on to sort of talk about thank WWE for giving her a chance in the first place, giving her the opportunities that she's had, and for keeping her on for so long after her neck injury as well. She goes on to thank the fans as well, saying it's going to be really hard and difficult to let go of the Paige name because it's been a part of her for so long. But she finishes it with an interesting line. She says, FYI, I'm not saying I'll never be in the ring. That day will most certainly come again, wherever the return may be. So Paige teasing a bit of an in-ring return, not necessarily in WWE. Now, her last match was obviously the live event match where she actually got injured, which was back in December 2017. So she's been away for a long time from the ring now. She announced her retirement because of all the injuries in April 2018, and since then has been a general manager. She's been just a normal manager and done a bunch of stuff behind the scenes as well. But sort of more recently, she's been expressing hopes of like an in-ring return, saying that she's been like inspired by Edge's story and Bryan Danielson's story about how they came back from kind of similar-ish neck injuries, although hers has always been a pretty bad one. Yeah. It was a terrible injury that she had. But yeah, so Paige, she wants this return to happen at some point. Where it's going to happen, we have absolutely no idea. When it might happen, we have absolutely no idea. But she is officially leaving WWE in July.
Yeah, it's massive this, because but when you break it down, Paige has been, Saraya now has been a part of WWE since, she was 18, I think, looking back. Yep. So it's been a long time, very long time under that banner. It's been all she's known, like, in terms of a proper, like, broadcasted wrestling environment ever, really. Like, obviously she worked with a family on, like, the British scene and everything else and the independents, but it'll be a massive culture shock and change for Saraya going forward. But it's in terms of the actual comeback, it's really important, and you've already noted it, just to remember how all these injuries are different. I know they might seem similar, they might seem like, they all not head and neck injuries, anyone can come back. It doesn't necessarily work that way a lot of the time. It's really specific as to what happened, what kind of trauma you went through, how it's healed up. It's there's so many variables. So it sounds like she's angling towards that. And if she feels good in herself and feels well in herself to get back on the horse and jump back into a ring again, then more power to her. Who we'd say no. But I think right now it's just important that she's happy, healthy, and she might have other opportunities. She's a very talented person. Like she was smashing Twitch at one point, so she can do whatever she wants, really. There'll be a lot of opportunities out there, a lot of different promotions that'll just want to get their hands on her, not in a weird way, but like, do you know what I mean? They'll want to definitely take advantage of the Saraya name, or like any Paige value that is out there. But
absolutely.
In terms of like people coming back from injuries, a nice little segue now, jumping into Cody Rhodes, obviously in his horrible titty, which was ripped up and bruised and battered, obviously coming into Hell in a Cell because of his weight training on the Friday beforehand. We've had an update, big update from WWE. It came on SmackDown. They did like a big highlight video package of Cody and Seth in that Hell in a Cell match. And then after it, Michael Cole and Pat McAfee were really like solemn, like, oh, Cody, he underwent surgery on Thursday. It was successful. Yeah, it's looking good for Cody going forward. But he's probably going to be out of action for the next 9 months. So the entire world was like, what? And then realized, oh, that means potentially he could be back around Rumble season, which has probably been one of the worst kept secrets in wrestling right now when it comes to this kind of injury. There's been that many people who've had these tendons ripped off the bone and ripped to shreds and have come back at a similar time. But I don't know, it felt very much like WWE just throwing that number out there as like a safety net. Because that's like 9 months is like the extreme, not the extreme, well, like the minimum of the maximum like time that you could be on the sidelines for this kind of injury. You could theoretically maybe come back a little bit sooner, maybe 6 months, maybe earlier. Again, Everyone's different. Not everyone's John Cena who just gets over ripped pecs like they're nothing. Like, not everyone's like that. But I think at this point, they're just giving themselves a bit of a safety net and trying to pull the wool over their fans' eyes. Why not?
Indeed, yeah. 9 months takes us to February next year, so just past the Royal Rumble. So it's a nice number to try and put the Royal Rumble out of people's minds to do a surprise return at the Royal Rumble, which would be amazing. But I mean, if anyone's gonna Super Cena this situation, it's gonna be Cody Rhodes, isn't it? You know what he's like. He's an absolute madman. So he's gonna be fighting and clawing to get his return as soon as possible, I imagine. But just the pop of him coming back and winning the Royal Rumble would be incredible moment after the run that he's had so far. But yeah, let's just hope he gets well soon, gets well properly as well, and doesn't rush things getting back into the ring. And yeah, all good wishes to Cody Rhodes, because it looks grim.
Yeah, the latest picture was not a fun one.
Yeah, the bruise just gets bigger and bigger. I don't understand how it works. But anyway, speaking of people who have been away for a little while, but for very different reasons, Roman Reigns, he's actually going to have a title defense, and it's going to be his first one since WrestleMania, since winning the undisputed Universal WWE Championship, or whatever they're calling it these days. So last night on SmackDown, it was Sami Zayn versus Matt Riddle. If Sami Zayn won, Matt Riddle was going to be banished from SmackDown, and if Matt Riddle won, he got this title opportunity, which obviously he won and is getting, and it's going to be next week on SmackDown. It's going to be Matt Riddle versus Roman Reigns. Yeah, like I say, Roman Reigns' first title defense since Mania, only his second match since Mania, because he was in the big six-man thing at WrestleMania Backlash, and Matt Riddle's first ever WWE Championship match. So that should be quite fun for next week's SmackDown. Though you've got to imagine Roman Reigns is just going to win it, because I don't see him dropping the title on SmackDown, even though they've massively booked themselves into a crazy corner with this situation of Roman Reigns wanting time off and him having all of the belts.
See, for me, though, it's one of those things that WWE get the majority of the money right now from television. So why wouldn't you maybe have this massive shock happen on SmackDown and give people a reason to tune in, because anything can happen? But yeah, I agree with you. I don't think this is going to happen. But it's about damn time that we're actually getting a defense, or even just a singles match from Roman. Obviously, he signed his contract. WWE willingly put that contract into place. So more power to him if he's going to get paid more money 100%. For less dates, whatever it is. That's all power to the guy.
Well done him.
But it's just lunacy from WWE to put themselves in this situation in the first place. But the match is going to be great. Riddle was on fire against Sami Zayn. It was a hell of a match, hell of a main event. So I think they'll definitely deliver the goods if the bloodline don't get involved and just cause chaos and it devolves into nothingness. But you know, that's WWE. That's the way things go. But a match that didn't devolve into nothingness involves one Gunther, who is apparently very hot right now within WWE. Like, people in the back of power, of note, have been saluting his efforts so far in terms of his SmackDown run at this point, and obviously he was rewarded for his incredible showings of late with a match against Ricochet for the IC title. And in that match, the two went at it. They pulverized each other, chopped each other, flipped. It was a really fun match. Like, you just knew it would be. The clash of styles worked perfectly. And in the end, Gunther killed him. Yeah, did a big old missile dropkick and nearly broke the guy in half, and then did a powerbomb and just mounted him for the pin. And he now has that nice IC title strap. It looks very good on him, and I don't know. I mean, this strap doesn't mean an awful lot in the grand scheme of things. I mean, it didn't do an awful lot for Ricochet, but when it comes to heels holding the belt, big dominant heels that can just wreck through everybody, I think Gunther is as good a match as you can get right now for that strap, and he could help potentially. I feel like I'm just a broken record, and I say this at least once every 3 months, but he could potentially elevate the title and turn it into something worth having. I don't know. I mean, as long as he just has some violent matches over the next coming weeks, that's fine enough for me, I guess.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, the title desperately needs some rehabilitation, and hopefully Gunther's the one to do it. Obviously, the Ricochet run was underwhelming at best. It was kind of exciting when he first got it, and we were like, they're actually doing something with Ricochet, and then they did nothing with Ricochet. So, I mean, the match itself, really good fun. Obviously, of course, it's always going to be. Ricochet's really good at this, flippy guy versus big man matches. He's great at it. And Gunther the same, with the other way around. If they gave them 20 minutes on a pay-per-view, it'd be absolutely incredible.
Oh, it would be, definitely.
But yeah, hopefully this is elevating Gunther. Like, hopefully this brings the title up with him, and they're actually going to do something with this title reign and this Gunther character. Because yeah, it does seem like WWE are high on him. So fingers crossed.
And very quickly, just kind of rounding up the SmackDown kind of like news that went down. There was obviously some Money in the Bank qualifiers. One of them ended ridiculously. Yes. The other one actually ended. So the women's Money in the Bank first qualifier was obviously Xia Li taking on Lacey Evans. Who's the heel? Let you decide, because none of us knew. Lacey Evans won that match with a woman's right. She clocked her in the head, so she's the first person to officially have qualified for the Money in the Bank ladder match. But there was a match before this, another qualifier, which ended when Sheamus and Drew McIntyre both swung chairs at each other, collided at the same time, and the match was ruled a no contest. So it remains to be seen what's actually happening, if there's going to be a second chance match potentially. There's been one announced Money in the Bank qualifier, and we still have 0 men in the actual match because WWE got a WWE, I guess. Yeah, that's the way it is.
Yeah, of course. And we've got Natalya versus Ronda Rousey had been put on the Money in the Bank card as well, isn't it? So got that to look forward to. But anyway, let's move over to your Twitter questions. The first one comes from Edward Shirazhands, who says, morning, what's the best single line of dialogue in wrestling, and why is it scissor me daddy ass?
Oh.
And then he's got a picture of Penny, who says hi. So hi, Penny.
Hi, Penny. Don't do any scissoring this morning on this PG news video,
I am
please.
a huge fan of the ass boys, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, they're great. I think for me personally, it's not really like a long line or anything. It was just something that used to get tacked onto things. It was Eddie Guerrero's I lied. I used to love that. It used to pop me silly all the way through like 2004 to 2006, whatever it was, where he used to really do it really well. I think against Kurt Angle he did a famous one. He's great. Yeah, that's my 2 words, not even a line, just 2 words. Why not?
Fair. Mine is a bit longer, but it's the thing I always go to because it's just my favourite promo in the history of wrestling ever, and it's when Mankind magically transformed into Cactus Jack to face Triple H at the Royal Rumble. And he's like, Mankind, I don't think I'm ready to face you at the Royal Rumble, but I know a guy who is. And he just takes off his shirt. He's like, I think you know the guy. His name is Cactus Jack. And he's going to kick your teeth all over the city of Chicago. And then Triple H sells it like he's seen a ghost. It's just the best moment. I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it.
Chef's kiss.
Next question. It comes from Matt Ryan, stroke Aussie Dead, who says, who would be in your Mount Rushmore of Money in the Bank winners?
Ooh,
so I thought we'd do 2 each.
Okay, I was going to say, so we got 4 there. The Brit over here, just double checking. I'd have Carmella. There you go. Controversial. Because she held it for like a year, didn't she? She held it for ages.
Interesting. Just straight in there with the wild card.
Why not? Why not? Like, because in terms of women's winners, most of them tend to cash it in the next night. Do you know what I mean? So you don't really get a lengthy run. WWE, do better, please. I'm
going to go. We'll do it one each.
Yeah.
I am going to go with Dolph Ziggler because I was there for the cash in, and it was an incredible moment, and that crowd reaction is just magical, and it was brilliant.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, I'm going to then jump straight to the obvious Seth Rollins, the heist of the century. He's got to be in there, isn't he?
Yeah, absolute classic. Who else?
I mean, we've not gone for like the genuine Mr. Money in the Bank, really, the icon of the match in my eyes.
The icon?
Edge.
Of course, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, let's put Edge on there. That makes sense. Why wouldn't you have Edge on there? The very first one.
Sorry,
and the one win it twice.
3-1 you there. That was very mean of me.
No, it's all good. Yeah. Edge is a good one.
Yeah.
And the last question of the day comes from Filipino, who says, would you rather take 10 chops from Gunther or wrestle a death match with Nick Gage? There's your Sophie's choice of the day.
Oh, God. I don't need that in my head on a Saturday morning. That's... it's tough because for sheer violence, the Nick Gage match would be horrendous. But just knowing what's coming your way with the Walter one, because I don't think it'd just be 10 quick chops. It'd be like the lashing that happens on AEW with MJF and the whip and the belt, whatever it is. I'd probably go for the chops. Maybe.
I don't know.
I was trying to think what's going to elicit less blood, and maybe the chops. I don't know.
Maybe you're still going to get a bit, and you're definitely going to end up looking like Cody at the end of the chops.
Oh yeah. I don't know what would be more memeable.
I'll
maybe
go
the chops
with the death match. Maybe.
It's not good. That's a great question. Yeah.
Either one. I really don't want to do this. But yeah, what would you rather do? Would you rather take 10 shots from Walter or a death match with Nick Gage? Let us know down in the comment section below.
And we'll do a video about it next week. No, I'm joking.
Where we do whatever you choose. No, we won't. While you're at it, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, like I say, comment down below, and watch more videos, ups and downs from SmackDown and Rampage. It's coming later on today, so make sure you check those out. But you can also follow us over on Twitter. You can follow me at PhilMyChambers. You can follow Gareth
at GMorgan04.
You can follow all of us at WhatCulture WWE. Thank you very much for joining us, and have yourselves a bloody good day.
Bye.